So funny how Hollywood is still trying to rally around Jimmy Kimmel as the arbiter of free speech, as the martyr that they want him to be in order to pivot off of the very poor treatment that they gave Charlie Kirk in his memory and his family as well. Now, instead of admitting that they were wrong, no, they're just going to say that Orange Man bad for trying to censor the unfunny late night guy. I suppose I need to go ahead and be a little bit more specific when I say unfunny late night guy. The one who very prominently did blackface multiple times over and is a career leech who got his start being the second for Adam Carolla and bounced around from outlet to whoever would be willing to put him on for his song and dance routine. But yeah, over the weekend, I'll have a video about this stupid committee that a bunch of like 500 out-of-touch celebrities are trying to resurrect, and they're out there trying to champion free speech and the First Amendment, but where were you back in the cut? Okay, because that Park Place has a list of, obviously not an exhaustive list of the people over the past 5 years, 5 of them right here. But yeah, over the height of hypocrisy, when Hollywood decided to turn a blind eye, how many people got canceled for lesser crimes and were never rallied around whatsoever? Number one with a bullet, yes, Roseanne Barr. When ABC revived Roseanne in 2018, it was a smash hit, a rare cultural unifier in a divided country. Over 18 million people tuned in, proving that audiences still wanted a family comedy that felt real and politically balanced. But one ill-conceived tweet thread, I would have to say, well, she got, zonked on Ambien and then just, started firing on all cylinders on Twitter. But okay, yes, after Roseanne Barr made a remark about former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett, a joke instantly branded racist, ABC canceled her show within hours. Interesting, ABC, huh? ICM Partners dropped her and the media outlets cheered her downfall. It was made worse when, it was made worse by Jimmy Kimmel's reaction. Funny thing about that, the same man who would go on to be suspended for knowingly lying, being slanderous and defamatory. Let's not give him the easy out by saying it was disinformation. No, he broke the law. That's not protected speech at all whatsoever. Roseanne telling a joke, that is. Jimmy Kimmel being a slanderous liar, not the same. But yes, he said he was glad ABC did the right thing by canceling Roseanne, adding that Barr had effectively killed her own show. In short, he agreed she brought it on herself, a sentiment he didn't share when the outrage later turned toward him. Oh man, I forgot about this. Gilbert Gottfried, hilarious, an actually hilarious man. That you might know is, the voice of the Aflac duck, Iago from Aladdin. But if you know anything about his comedy stylings, he is as dirty as they come. But anyways, Gilbert Gottfried was the last of his kind, a comic who would say anything, anywhere, and didn't care who flinched for years. That attitude made him a legend, but when the cultural wind shifted, he became a casualty in 2011 after tweeting jokes about the Japanese earthquake. Aflac fired him from his role as the company's mascot, a position he had held for over a decade. Sponsors fled, venues canceled appearances, and the media treated him like a public villain. And he used to be a staple of the Howard Stern show, and funny. As it's pointed out here, even his old friend Howard Stern, once a poster boy for offensive comedy, abandoned him at the first sign of controversy. Scumbag, absolute scumbag. Alright, Justin Roiland, whatever, man, the Rick and Morty guy. Co-creator and voice of Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites was accused in early 2023 of domestic violence and other heinous crimes. The internet convicted him instantly. Adult Swim and Hulu cut ties before a single hearing took place. Yeah, exactly. A common refrain that we have heard so many times over the years. And then the truth came out. Prosecutors dismissed the charges. Roland wasn't convicted of anything. But even after he was cleared, no studio apologized, no network reinstated him, and no colleagues came forward to defend him. He was erased from his own creation without a second thought. And Rick and Morty's reputation arguably never recovered. It was about that time when people were getting sick and tired of the fan base. I think Rick and Morty fans were more detrimental to its cause than the show ever was. Like, there are many shows, many pretentious shows that get shoved down people's throat that are just immediately a turnoff. But I don't think we have seen a show, especially in recent years, take more of a reputational hit because of its fans than Rick and Morty. And hey, they were more than willing to lead the charge to cancel one of the creators because We need to listen and believe all women, right? Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel, by contrast, wasn't even facing criminal allegations when he was suspended. He was facing embarrassment, and Hollywood called it a persecution. And yep, they had nothing to say on behalf of Justin. And then, of course, yeah, probably the most obvious example and the one in these circles that immediately comes to mind, Gina Carano. Do we even need to go over the backstory on this one? Yeah, she tweeted out a meme. Disney very publicly and swiftly admonished her, fired her, and branded her an outcast. Meanwhile, the other side of that coin, Pedro Pascal ended up getting promoted and elevated. And to just simply round out the top 5, probably one of the more, I think I can confidently say one of the more distinguished and accomplished actors, somebody who I always looked forward to, even prior to learning his political leanings. Like, as Hercules is one of my favorite Disney films, in a large part due to his voice performance for Hades. But the way that James Woods is just simply persona non grata in Hollywood, like, he was a producer on Oppenheimer, by the way. No, okay, but in order to make sure that Christopher Nolan didn't take any heat, he made sure that his name wasn't advertised. That's the type of sick shit that Hollywood does. Somebody who has such a legacy as James Woods cannot step foot in the industry due to the fact that he has conservative leanings. Yeah, man, all of these people, and this is, like I said before, not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination, all faced stronger and steeper repercussions for lesser offenses than Jimmy Kimmel ever received. And that's why this is so fucking hilarious. For all of the public support that he got, Jimmy Kimmel's ratings crater drops 85% of key viewers since a return to late night Disney TV. He's back to normal, and it didn't even take a week. Don't call it a comeback, because it isn't one. Ratings for Jimmy Kimmel Live have absolutely cratered since a controversial partisan host returned to the Disney-owned ABC late night lineup. Jimmy Kimmel returned to his late night show after a suspension that made national headlines and cost him, 3 dates? ABC promoted it as a triumphant comeback. For a moment, the hype worked. Curiosity drove temporary spike in viewership. Yeah, over 6.3 million viewers, right, for that one episode. And then after that, well, we don't need to talk about that. But within just 2 weeks, Kimmel's ratings have cratered, shedding a massive and devastating 85% of the key audience and returning to levels that once had industry insiders questioning whether his show could even survive. According to Fox News, Jimmy Kimmel Live has lost 85% of its key demo viewers since the hyped comeback episode. On Thursday, October 2nd, Kimmel Live averaged 1.9 million total viewers. Oof. That is right back to pre-suspension total ratings right there. A loss of 71% of the audience from the 6.3 million that tuned in for his return from suspension. The drop is even more dramatic. Yes, in the favored 25 to 54 demo, in the show, it went from 1.7 million viewers in that age range to just 265,000 by Thursday, an 85% decline. Fucking oof. That's not a small dip. No. That would be like saying the Grand Canyon is a troublesome hole. That's a collapse. Kimmel's return drew attention initially because of his suspension controversy, and because everybody could go, yeah, that's right, the Orange Man is really bad. Tell us, Jimmy. Tell us how bad he is. But viewers quickly tuned out. The total audience now hovers dangerously close to pre-suspension lows that sparked network panic in the first place. ABC, which is owned by Disney, has not officially commented on the figures, mostly because it's like, yeah, we don't really need to talk about it. But shit, man, you look at that graph, and that is abhorrent. Absolutely pathetic. And so they can continue to spin a screed that, oh no, there's a knock-on effect. The FCC is still hunting down ABC. Oh, Jimmy Kimmel's on a leash. Where it's like, you take a look at his comedy, what he was willing to say back when he's still trying to make a name for himself, and what he's doing today. And it's like the only leash that he has on him is self-imposed. But all in all, well, the format of the late night TV show, the late night interview show, well, it's all kind of dried up because quote-unquote Hollywood stars are so readily accessible and available to so many people at any given time of the day that this once unique format isn't that unique at all anymore. So yes, you can blame it on that. But also when, you want to throw it back to Jay Leno, David Letterman, and even early era Kimmel used to pull in viewership that rivaled primetime numbers, throw in Conan on top of that, of course. You had people that were uniquely good at their job, Kimmel notwithstanding. But now you look at it, it's just this homogenous amalgam of left-wing partisans And so, if you want to continue this comparison, where, yeah, you'd have Leno and Letterman pull in primetime-esque ratings, well, you have Kimmel, Colbert, Myers pulling in similar left-wing news cycle ratings. And you know what? I think that's a more damning indictment than even pulling this motherfucker off the air could ever be to begin with. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.